So I'm back on this interesting experiment that with 1/100th, a small fraction, 1/100th, that's 1% of the circulating total token supply having staked in this project. It found support 3 times above the low expressed in the parabola being tested twice. Once early on with no volume, right? I'm not saying that there was a ton of liquidity there. Maybe it's about the same. Obviously, this is the same, right? But there wasn't as much trading until after the hacker. So there was a double spend, I don't know, congestion, like off-site hack, like one of those off-server. It was a off-server double spend attack to mint NFTs and sell them. They were getting away with it for a little while, and there was a point that a lot of people abandoned the project. Here's a dump right here. That was the hacker, right? And then here's, I think, where people the most doubt. You know what I mean? Early on, this doubt is because it couldn't sustain the price level without any volume up here. They had the short time opportunity right here because of because they had a successful rollout. Then there's going to be some flippers and some whales dumping or some flipping early on in the project, and that culminating with, I think, the hacker happening right about here, leading to this wick right here down. So I picked up 1/100th of the token supply before I could get much, a lot more cheaply, right? So they run out of the cheap tokens, stabilize with support 3 times higher. It's a different way to play than usually people play this game, because you can be in it for the RLM, or you can be in it for the NFTs and for the upgrade for the NFTs, basically. It doesn't mean you're flipping, because there's a sustained way to try to establish yourself in the ecosystem. Then now you're like, why are you talking about potential scams and stuff like that? What is that? Is that do you really think that's a sweepstakes model or something? It is probably bad if I made videos about this. It is potentially bad, because if anything happens to the price because of my fault, then it would be shady, because another type of, it's trying to perfect gambling, which is okay, but rug pulls, and there's going to be a regulation on, because if I dumped and it crashed on a lot more people, and I made videos, that's not good. It would be better off if you just dump something and it crashes by itself without making any videos, because people might think they should buy it because it was on a video. Why else would you make a video? Hey man, what are you doing? Why else would you make a video? Okay, but this is just an example. And I understand MetaMask is actually have some competition, which is interesting, because you use MetaMask to, transact back and forth with multiple chains. but there is going to be a chain, I think, that is going to forego even you don't even like, I mean, if they work it out, their liquidity ramps to where they don't need to use MetaMask, they could bypass it. NFTs is one of those business where any interval onto the ecosystem is as good as another. It doesn't have to be a Coinbase transaction or something to send to exchange or something. Like, you don't have to even go off the blockchain to go right to Coinbase. That would be, or to Kraken or to Binance or one of those. So why this game gets to be fun? Because it's incentivized. And why does it get to be fun? Because, sweepstakes, and it doesn't sound really attractive. People are like, okay, sweepstakes, woo, I don't have time, right off the bat. But if you just seen it, you're going to be interested in what it is before even getting around to what that it is a model for sweepstakes. And that at some point, some investor is going to spend more or the most amount to get into the ecosystem, and there won't be another one after them to sort of stabilize them and then build out from a stronger base and also push forward. So at some point you said, like, is it a scam? Because somebody has to not really, somebody has to not really get all that out of it that everybody or anybody else, that everybody else can on different, levels. But why would it still work? Because it could find a job. And that's something that people think they're waiting for or they're looking for, but when it proposes itself to them, they don't know what you're talking about. They're like, what? This guy was, what do you want? What are you, playing at? What are you playing at? They don't see the vision. And I mean, even if it is executed well and they produce a product and it's interesting, they could decide not to go and be as interested in it, and if they want to. So it's like, even if it does have a vision, like, that still has to be no lowball stuff. There has to be, or no underhanded maneuvering and things that look bad, and like for no reason, to make you question, like, why are we doing it this way? Are you guys gaslighting yourself? Because I understand that these odds in some cases, like for this part of the challenge, this oil rig, it's not to scale. So when you let's say deposit the resources to get it done, it gives you a percentage of how, that to which you're going to succeed. And you go and plug in 100%, right? Because okay, here's in the very beginning it didn't take that much, so let's try to put 1. 2. So 84%. You would think, oh, that's a decent chance. Let's see if it fails. Like, you almost have to do 95, 98%, or it's a 50-50 shot. And it's the random numbers generator that chooses these odds. It may either need to be filled to maximum capacity, or they should go to a scale of like a thermometer or something, cold to hot as far as your chances. Instead, keep out these odds if they can't keep it to scale with the odds, because that for some reason that it doesn't have to, looks like low underhand stuff. It doesn't mean it is, what I mean? So NFTs is exposure to a lot of FUD, and a lot of people with like no faith at all. They're always talking about, almost bragging about how willing they are to sell and dump on everybody's head in the chat of the game, and they still have NFTs, and they still have maybe tokens. Why are you trying to bring down your own investments like this? For some reason it's just like scintillating. People had like it's just something I have to shut up. And then I can go in their methodology and tear them apart and shit. So like I'm never really been encouraged to do this, and it might even be like, oh, you was right. But if you think that you went in at a level that's the bottom of a project with some support and devs and social media and activity, and you found a stabilizing point and you got exposure to the ecosystem at a steal or a buy, and then you have the control to where you could say, it isn't stable because it's I have a lot of power over the circulating token supply, but I can have my issue because of that control. Like, it's the same control I could use to dump. It's like everybody is reinforcing in the chat that it's gonna be. But I have ultimate control over that. You know what I mean? So I'm saying, like, if you bought in because you saw this video, that makes it scammy. But if it's an interesting experience and a new way to gamble and have the best odds and retaining the most value for the experience, that where you're definitely going to get something in return for what you put in for an exposable income, which people can't imagine that there is. If there's incentivization and there's exposable income, all we need is traction. Shut up. Not talking to people. You're allowed to think like, what the hell, like, why do you think this is going to be anything? But I'm talking about the people that are already in here. And I don't know if I'm not mad at everybody, because most of the time they're supportive and helping other players, but sometimes there's just like, those people. This guy, Dylan Dango, let's see, don't quote me. He's always looking for something to pick on, and he doesn't even know. He doesn't even have the premise or the basis, right, to start a foundation of like a question. Like, I seem to recall getting all experience when I blended. Don't quote me on that. Oh, he's saying something positive, getting all. But the thing is, that's not true. Because when you blend, you get a percentage of the experience because of how powerful it is to the NFT. If you were to just be able to get all of the XP from 2 different NFTs when you blend it, that's like, and plus each level requires more and more. So actually, maybe he's right. Yeah, it just seems like that because each level. So if you blended 2 level 5s, you're not going to get a level 10. You're going to get like a level 7 or 6 or 7. So I guess that he's helping. So he's being helpful. He probably thinks I'm a troll. That's the other thing. It's like when sometimes some people are interested, like they're supportive, but in the past, that guy has thought I was a troll. And then they get like sad or disappointed, and they want to leave the chat because people aren't responding to you like a troll, and they're like, oh, betrayed and everything. Like, oh, you guys. See what I mean? I'm not trolling. Damn, that's crazy. But it's how much token supply, circulating token supply power do you actually have as far as to crush the market? Because I could only, if I crush the market in the beginning of a breakout, it wouldn't have a breakout. And then it could lose, people could lose interest in it. That is true. If it was a pump and dump, I would have dumped when people, because it's not logical to hold on to a pump and dump after they dumped off, right? So I staked instead. So it came back, and I know it's gonna be like, this is like, you know, the psychology probably part. So after this, after staking 1/100%, because there's not like, there's an account that holds that a majority of that, but it's not the exchange. The exchange actually has to buy more tokens. So we're trying to get the exchange to experience more volume picking it up and having to buy more tokens, because people are trying to ride this volatility up, down, up, down. That's the opportunity right there. Up, down, up, down. That makes it fun to trade with, and a different approach to going at the game, whether you are in it for RLM or for whether you're in it for NFTs. And a lot of people being in it for RLM is not going to, in the long run, in the long term, stabilize the token economics. But it is attractive in the beginning. It's going to have to go through transformations. And that's what these platforms facilitate, is a lot of transformation to the model. So it could be a lot different later on. Hasn't changed that much, but the token economics gets to evolve, then it will. Then it has to. And going toward sweepstakes, I can speculate that there's some real tokenization of assets, platform potential, like RTA potential. It's not, you know, doing anything now, and as far as that, and a sweepstakes, as far as sweepstakes, it's like, you know, the proteins for a sweepstakes. It's like all the building blocks for it, like it's the, so but it's not doing that, you know what I mean? It's obviously, you could, if you're expecting that already, then you're not normal, you know what I mean? Like it could just be that it meshes well with a business model that attracts people to a platform that's based on incentivizing you to get exposure. Then you can speculate and find, when you get more users, those new wallet users attract people for, you know, staking, and that you can go into other markets with the software. And as long as they have devs, then somebody's working on it. So it could do what it wants to, as it's not like saying open source to everybody, but it's, I guess, open source to GitHub. Then it also it doesn't slow down the blockchain. If the blockchain gets busy, it's not our fault, because this game has a backend that hosts all its transactions. So there might be glitches and things that people don't understand, like, you know what I mean, that gets people to jump out, but they've been jumping out the whole time. It's just, when are they going to stop is the question, you know what I mean? And that's the question, you know what I mean? Because that's what this basically is. It's like, this is all people, some people got in early or some were awarded chips for participating in devs or doing something for the ecosystem. Then this is just their chance to dump. And this is just, everybody's just, you know, not everybody jumps out of the whole ecosystem. Some people, not everybody stays in the ecosystem and tries to maintain it. But what you see is different from everybody. There's still no reason for it to go past the base, especially if somebody, the right person in control. And if I'm saying that's me, then you buy it, then that's not good. You know what I mean? It's whether this is like science. Are you in it for the technology? Of course, I'm in it for both exposure to and to the liquidity too. Oh, I just messed up my chart again. I don't even know which button does that one, and I can never fix it. I want to get the volume bars back, you know, to show when it exponentially increased. So you want for not to be a rug pull, you know, have to stabilize before. And if you started unstaking, You know, this game manages the unstaking process in a way that it's protection against whales trying to abuse it, because you have to check in every hour to export a certain amount of coins, so that you have to do it in a slow way that tips everybody off to what you're doing, you know, and that makes it a kind of a Marxist policy. So that's the Marxism idea, you know what I mean, that it takes an aspect of capitalism out on the blockchain to see if this model will work without the human aspect that corrupts systems of governance. Currency and voting and blockchain is governance. And this is just my favorite, you know, my little flay, you know what I mean? This is my favorite, my dark horse, or my flay for, you know what I mean? It's not a investment video. Of course, I wanted to succeed and everything. But you know, if it breaks, the game breaks, and I'm driving around in a Lamborghini and everybody is like all fucked up and everything, because I made this video, like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? It's advisable to make this video. I'm not saying that I wouldn't rug pull everybody, because I can. You can't know, and you shouldn't trust anybody who says that they are not going to do that. At some point in time, you have to know that I don't want to be, you know, like, I want to do something else. And there's sometimes you have to visit a website religiously for a long time before you get, you know, up enough what's it called, enough flow of liquidity to really push into exposure into other assets. So you're trying to push through. Yeah. And why we use NFTs to facilitate that is because the NFTs hold their value if it works, if it's working, you know. And anybody can make, just because it works doesn't mean that they are going to, because anybody can, yada yada. It's strange that a game like this would take so many videos. You wouldn't think that it would take so many videos for me to, because I can understand why people still wouldn't get what it does, you know. And I'm not going through this. Like, there's other videos that already does that, goes through the stuff like this, you know what I mean? In a sense, I am trying to calm the investors a little bit, you know. But it is also true that I only have control over 1/100th. It gives you an idea of how big the ecosystem is, because if you know, I'm not a rich guy or anything like that, not even close. But a regular Joe, you know, one person, and there's 3,000 active users. There's supposed to be like, you know, maybe 20,000 accounts, but they're, you know, not all active. You know, those are just people make an account, check in, you know, don't buy any NFTs. They analyze it and they say, oh, you must buy NFTs. So they were never really there to do that, because they're looking at it from the perspective of whether or not you even need them. And apparently you do have to pay to get, so it's like, for them, it's a science too. They just want to know if it's possible to take any liquidity out of the ecosystem, you know, and say, like, this is a solid, you know, currency or form of currency, and I can off ramp it and it can make into another form of currency, and there it is. It's just, is it possible? That's like what everybody talks about, you know what I mean? But I mean, we already know it's possible. The question is whether or not your instincts are going to serve you well or not, you know. And then even if you have the best educated guess, there's some aspect of control that you maybe hallucinated, you know. So it might be interesting to know scientifically if I really have that much influence, because is that an illusion? You know what I mean? If you control 1/100th of the token supply and you can get passive income and stabilize it 3 times above the low. Well, I mean, it's not hard to imagine that it could achieve its regular, another equilibrium, a leg up in a higher price bracket, because it spent so little time down here that if it goes all the way back down and tests that bottom, that you can imagine that it will it'll shoot back up and find some support. But what if that person that was you know what I mean, then that's kind of weird, because you're looking at statistics and everything, you're making your own statistics. Somebody did help me to push up there and stabilize it, so there's other people interested. It may not be that many, which doesn't look interesting to a lot of other people, but if this transparent Marxist sweepstakes blockchain business protocol does actually perform with traction, hold true to form without any shenanigans, which is always a possibility, then it can be like create value. Yeah, it's not too immediately easy as it used to be to create value in the NFT ecosystem, in the NFT space, but I shouldn't use that because the space is gonna look different to different. It's gonna get a little bit different. I mean, there's some things that look like NFTs that are not. Okay, so I mean, it's not saying that there's anything wrong with buying those either. It's case sensitive. Yeah, so of course I do want it to succeed, so I'm asserting that I don't have too much ability, and it looks like, oh, that's what you would say right before you know what I'm saying, you're trying to lull me, you're trying to rock me to sleep, you know what I mean? At the same time, I'm gonna try to emphasize that I'm not gonna do that and everything. That's just like, come on. But I mean, shit, what if it's just science? Yeah, you know what I mean? I get wanting to be cynical and everything. I automatically you expect most people to be naturally, but it's not gonna matter until my hope is that it pans out the way I think it's possible, because again, if one person, right, then imagine the power of 3 or 5 people, more, I mean, to the degree that they would stake 100%, because it's everything's new, but I mean, the governance of Marxism to express a interesting new kind of gambling, if it's transparent, it's not corruptible by humans, then counterintuitive things will take place, that if you're not looking for them in the right way, or if you're not looking at it the right way, then it just really won't make sense. It already doesn't make sense which projects work and don't work in NFTs. There was other projects that looked just like this, in a sense, that were kind of the same thing, that were completely rug pulled and completely the bottom just fell out. And